Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. This is Daredevil number one. As I starting out great, bumping right into the tripod. How's that? So this is Daredevil number one. Okay, uh, as normal, let me know if I look good, sound good in the chat. Okay, let's fix this. Okay, there we go. That's better. That's better. So as usual, I will filibuster for a minute until I'm pretty sure that there's people in the chat. I got to do something about this glare. I say that every freaking week. Every freaking week. I was told my channel is ghetto, but maybe that's the charm. Marcus says we sound good. Okay, how you doing, Marcus? Thank you. So this is my Sunday comics. Hey, What Geeks Do? Hey, how you doing? Thank you. You missed your intro. What Geeks Do is the guy who made that fun poppy intro. I love it so much. Wow, a number one. Yes. All right. Looks like we got 8 people in the chat, so no need to filibuster anymore. First off, happy Sunday, everybody. Second off, let's all take a sip of coffee together. 1, 2, 3, sip. Wow. Yeah, that's good coffee. As usual, I am having my Tim Hortons coffee. Haldir should appreciate that. And Haldir, let me ask you, are you the one that just bought a glass? Are you the one? I might as well talk about that. Here's my Heroic Tales beer pint with the wonderful patriarch symbol on that. I drew a horrible version of this, and then Renzo did a outstanding version, and I was like, I got to put that on a glass. So, Haldir, is that you that just PayPal'd me for a glass? I saw that the address was all cut off, and I was freaking out. And then I clicked on something, and it showed me the address. So I think it's you. And then I pack it up, and I will mail it sometime this week. Pete, Allison, you guys, right here. I just got this yesterday. I was going to put out your glass last week, but I didn't have proper size boxes. So I want, you can understand, I want to make sure that everything's packed really, really well. And speaking of my glass, it's all of a sudden selling. I sold 6 of them this week. All of a sudden it's booming. So yes. Oh, Haldir. So thank you. I was joking to my wife because she's from Winnipeg. I said, somebody from Winnipeg just bought a pint glass. And she goes, oh, what's his address? I said, his address is a burger spot or burger place. And she was laughing because she loves that place. Oh, speaking of my glass, Marcus is always excited for Sunday morning comics. Thank you. I meant to hit this comment. Get John's beer glass, $20 postage page at PayPal, John's Long Box. There's no apostrophe at yahoo.com. Getting all the commercials done out of the way while I wake up. I stayed up till 3:30 last night. Something wrong with me. I was just reading comics all night, just enjoying reading comics. Let's look at all the comments before we start. We got Haldir, we got Marcus, we got What Geeks Do, we got Old Dirty Fatty. Wow, at number 1. Yeah, that's kind of been my theme for the past month or two. Is all maybe not number 1s like Journey into Mystery 8 wasn't a number 1, but it was the first appearance of Thor. So this is the first appearance of the Daredevil. We got Pete Rock over here. Yep, Daredevil fan. For those of you who don't know, he was one of the first people to do live with me, and we did Daredevil. He was really good, Pete is relatively new to comics. Happy Sunday, Zach Tan. I've been saying your name wrong. I just realized. Zach Tan. Thank you. Hey, Lacey's back. Lacey, how's Abrax doing? Good morning, John. John, you're all gravy. Oh man, that gravy is so good. So hell, Marcus. Yep. Okay. I'm getting excited as the coffee is kicking in. So let's do a recap. This is Sunday Comics, and Sunday Comics, as you know, is like morphed into me talking about key issues. So what that means is I'm talking about important comics in comic book history. So I got on a groove with Justice League number 1, and then I talked about I compared it to Fantastic Four number 1, and then I did X-Men number 1. Keep in mind, I don't have all of the comics. Like, I don't have Amazing Spider-Man 15, but you know what? I think I have a really good reprint, and I will show the reprint because I think it's important that we see the first Spider-Man. So if I have the reprint, if I'm not misremembering, next week I will do Amazing Fantasy 15. Just keep in mind it is a reprint. Okay, so this is the first appearance of Daredevil, and look, this is a really good condition. Okay, as normal, let me talk about how I got this comic. It's a really funny story. All right, I've been going to a comic book store, the Incredible Pulp, since it opened. I was there opening day, wee little kid. Um, the owner, Larry, I think was one of the more important people. Well, he was probably the most important comic book person in my life. He introduced me to so many comics and he made them available. But he also was one of the first people to like really push indie comics. He had Cerebus, he had Dave Sim of Cerebus in his store when I was a little kid. And it's funny to see the photographs from that event. If you go to if you Google Dave Sim, there's a website called a Moment with Cerebus, and you can see in December he talks about his appearance and he puts up old photos. You can see like a 12-year-old me in the background. It's amazing. But I didn't know about any of these old black and white comics, but that's besides the point. Larry eventually closed the store down, and then I went to another store called Cosmic Comics. There's a roundabout way to tell this story. Geez, I'm sorry. Just too much coffee. But that guy wasn't that friendly. He was the typical comic book guy. He was, get out of my store. You kids are taking too long. Are you going to buy that? So I'm doing what I used to call the A to Z. I used to go to Tower Records and do the A to Z. I would just start at A and go all the way to Z looking for records. And when I went to comic book stores, I still do it at comic book stores. I go and I do start at A and I just spend hours just rummaging through the back issue bins looking for stuff that I need. I used to carry a list of stuff that I need. I do not anymore. Now I pretty much remember. Anyway, as I was doing that, this little kid came in. Kid must have been like 14 years old. Oh, you never saw the intro? Yeah. What Geeks Do Network made that for me. So yeah, great job. Great job. And that's Allison. That's Pete's wife. Met Dave Sim and helped him for a weekend. Oh, what exactly? How did you help him? Did you rake leaves? Did you make spaghetti? Did you bathe him? What did you do for Dave Sim? So anyway, this little kid comes into the comic book store while I'm doing the A to Z, and he has a paper bag filled with comics. And he says to the owner, "You want to buy some comics?" And the owner goes, "No, you buy comics. I pay the taxes. I pay the rent on the store. You buy the comics. Why do I need a comic book from you?" And he chased the kid out. And I was like, I wonder what that kid has. I was just curious because, I was in a mood to buy back issues and I pretty much knew everything that the store had at this point. So I followed the kid out. I was like, "Hey, what do you got?" And he opened up a bag and he had this. And he had a couple other comics. And be honest, I don't remember. I think it was like Wolverine from the 4-issue Wolverine series. And I was like, "Oh, okay, these are pretty good. How much for the whole bag?" $60. I was like, "You got it." Gave the kid $60, and I went home with an excellent copy of Daredevil #1. And then I didn't go back into the store. I just took my gem, brought it home, and then I went and I told him what happened, and he was like livid. But whatever. If he was a nicer person, he would have had this for $60. Okay. Oh, who do we got here? Frederick Gumont. Good morning, Mr. Longbox. First time catching your stream. You can call me John. But thank you for showing up. As much as I love talking to all these comic creators, this is turning into my favorite thing that I do. Just talking about comic books with interested, cool people. We closed out his I hit the button. We closed out his warehouse back issues of Cerebus and hung with him. That sounds cool. Where was that? In Ontario? I imagine that's got to be in Ontario. So let's check out this cover. This is Daredevil's original costume, obviously, the yellow and red. I love this. My philosophy with costume design is keep it simple, elegant. This is simple. This is elegant. Not a lot of unnecessary lines. Where Spider-Man, there's a lot of lines, but I wouldn't call them unnecessary. They're just good line. Cool. Yeah, it was in Ontario. So I take it that's where you live too. Otherwise, you drove thousands of miles just to help a guy unload a warehouse. Now, this cover is by Jack Kirby. I'm not sure who did the inks. If Marcus, you could you find out who did the inks for this cover? If I was smart, I would have done research. So this is Jack Kirby. Look at this wonderful Daredevil. We got the Fantastic Four. We got Matt Murdock. We got Karen Page. We got Foggy Nelson. And then we got Spider-Man. Jack Kirby is an amazing, outstanding guy, but he could not draw Spider-Man. I just saw oh, you live in Michigan. Well, that's not too far away. I just saw a Twitter comment where somebody said, if Jack Kirby had drawn Doctor Strange and Spider-Man, would they be just as popular? And I say, well, I think Jack Kirby designed Spider-Man and drew the cover, but Steve Ditko was Spider-Man. And would he have been as popular? I don't know. I can't answer that question, but I do think this wouldn't have sold as well. Jack Kirby Spider-Man. He just can't draw Spider-Man. You know, I don't know. I feel bad saying anything bad about Jack Kirby. Okay, so let's check this out. Approved by the Comics Code. And here we go. Bill Everett inked. Yes, I thought so. I didn't want to say, I know that sounds pretentious. Oh, I thought so, but I did think so. Nice thing about the limbs being a different color. If the limbs are in front of the torso, it's easier to distinguish. Yes. And I remember as a little kid, I got a little confused when I saw Daredevil in all red, because I was like, that's basically Spider-Man's costume, you know? So, okay, here we got, this is the interior splash page. Okay, we got this dictionary over here, dictionary salesman, and the origin of Daredevil. I love this splash page. Just look at this dynamic action. Now, this is, the original Daredevil, the dare part was emphasized rather than the devil part, which kind of emphasized later. Excuse me. Okay, do you remember this cover? They're talking about Spider-Man #1, and we congratulate you. This I always thought was a little odd. I mean, at this point they have the comic, but I guess this was for people that were looking at it on the spinner rack or in a, well, they didn't have comic book stores back then, so on the spinner rack. So here's the credits. Written by Stan Lee, illustrated by Bill Everett, lettered by Sam Rosen. I guess nobody colored this. This was colored by the Angels. So I'm sure there's a colorist credited somewhere. I just didn't research it because I just assumed it would be in the comic itself. What year did that happen? The kid with the bag. That must have been. That was before I moved to Flushing. So I'm going to say around 2003, 2005. 2003, 2005. Yeah. That's okay. And that's the same Daredevil as the cover. Okay, so here's the indicia, copyright 1964. Okay. That's the same Daredevil as the cover. Yeah, that's the same. I never noticed that before, but you're right. They just copied and pasted. And every time I turn the pages on these key issues, I get a little nervous and I might actually stop talking. I'm sure everybody could appreciate it. So now, Bill Everett. Who is Bill Everett? Okay. Before I go any further, let's talk. We all know who Stan Lee is. No need to talk about Stan Lee. Bill Everett was a Marvel writer since before Marvel. He created the Submariner, and in the very, they say it's the first Marvel comic. It depends on your definition of Marvel Comics, but there was a comic called Marvel Comics. Marvel Comics #1 has that great illustration of the Human Torch, the original android Human Torch on the cover. That had the Human Torch and the Submariner, and those are like the two Marvel superheroes, even though it was Timely Publications at the time. Later it became Atlas Publications, and then right around Fantastic Four #1 it became Marvel Comics. So Bill Everett is one of the creators of the Marvel first superheroes, the Submariner, and I always found it to be interesting. I don't know if it was design, probably coincidence, that the first two Marvel superheroes, one of them was of fire and one of them was of water. And the Human Torch was a villain until World War II started, and then he became a the anti-hero, which is a term I just don't like, you know, anti-hero. Okay, thank you, Marcus. Stan Goldberg colored it, as with most of the 60s Marvels. Great. Stan Goldberg, for those of you who don't know, uh, he was a colorist, and I think he was the one that was in charge of Marvel's colors for a good part of a decade. And he also was hired by Archie Comics. He did a lot of Archie illustrations, art, and he worked. If you watch my channel, every once in a while I'll show Chili Storm, the redheaded model. I don't know why I get a kick out of it. He drew those. He could kind of ape like a what's his name, Dan DeCarlo, one of the famous Archie styles. So yeah, so he colored most of Marvel, and then he did some art, and I think he was the coloring director for Marvel for a long time. This is some densely compacted storytelling. Yes. Who was it that said this? I think it was Frank Miller, and he said, where out of all of the Marvel comics, Daredevil is a film noir, where everything else is a 4-color comic. And I absolutely agree. I could see this being a black and white, smoky Humphrey Bogart movie. Hey, Jolly Green Giant is here. Tony Dimes is here. A Howling Commando. Yeah, I might show that comic next. Sergeant Fury and his Howling Commandos. An anti-hero is a bad guy on the good side, and an anti-villain is a good guy on the bad side. Yeah, I know, it's kind of silly. Bill Everett is underappreciated Golden Age creator. Absolutely. Yes, I cannot agree more. So here we have the setting. It's very dense storytelling, and if you ask me, it's very Golden Age. This is so Golden Age. And this is on the cusp of the Golden Age turning. Well, this is firmly in the Silver Age. What am I talking about? This is firmly in the Silver. I forgot it was 63. I was thinking it was 53 in my brain. So we got Foswell's Jim. We got the Black Cat. Look at all this. This is such Golden Age artwork, and it was probably if you used to all the Jack Kirby stuff, this is probably a little jarring. But what do I know? Look at this setup over here. Now I'm not reading. First off, I read this a million times. The origin, one of the things that Marvel does is every couple of years or so they not redo, but they retell the origin for the new people. So I'm pretty familiar with this story. And then they showed it on the wonderful Netflix show. The Daredevil Netflix TV show was probably the best thing that Marvel did. It was so good. So look at the storytelling. You know who these guys are. They're in the gym. They're boxers. They're crooked, and they're talking about fixing things and betting. It's just excellent storytelling. You could hear the bluesy, jazzy music in the background, like that like frenetic, slow saxophone playing. You know what I mean? It's just so good. And then they turn around, and then there's Daredevil. And where is the this word balloon always got me. So look, here's Daredevil. Look at his build. Hang around, fella. Maybe the Fixer could use you. I always thought that was funny, considering out of all the superheroes, he's probably, like, next to Spider-Man, he's probably the skinniest one. Look at that build, So like, oh, he must be some kind of nut. And here we go. They're gonna just go and take him out. What does Daredevil do? Again, now they're in this dark gym. Everything's set up now. Now look at all the backgrounds on this page. There are none. They're just colored. Light blue, dark blue, yellow, green. What's going on? But we know it. It's action time. Action time. We don't got time to focus on no background. This panel always reminded me of the beginning of the Adam West Batman, when you see all the thugs running at him and then they go flying around. But I love this. This is the first action. What does he do? He doesn't throw a punch. He doesn't clobber you. He doesn't shoot a gun. He lays down and does some basic is this jujitsu? It's definitely not karate. Is striking jujitsu or aikido. He's using his momentum and strength against him. This guy is, look at this. He's got this typical male just bulk. He's probably got like 100 pounds on Daredevil. So I just love how smart that is, that you don't see him just throwing a punch, this skinny little twig that I was just making fun of. No, what does he do? does something unexpected, and he tosses this guy, and then he swings him around and he throws him back, using his own mass and everything against him. Like, this guy's going for the gun. Daredevil throws the stick and knocks it right out of his hand. Boom, boom. And obviously it looks like he's close to the wall. It's just such good storytelling. I remember it all. Again, I read this a million times. As normal, I will do the comments as I turn the page because I'm so nervous about these comics, as you can see. So let's see. It took Everett forever to draw this comic. Avengers took its place on the schedule. Oh, interesting. I did not know that. Everett had a commercial art job and a drinking problem. I heard that the drinking problem was a big problem back in those days. Wasn't Wally Wood also a notorious drunk that just fumbled deadlines? That famous story with him working for Will Eisner with the Spirit on the Moon. That pretty much caused Will Eisner to cancel the Spirit. It was so late that Steve Ditko and Sal Brodsky did work on it. I did not know that. If Marcus, jump in on the chat when we come to pages that were Ditko and Brodsky's. Yes, hit the like. Hail, happy Sunday. Yes, absolutely. And this is my checklist. My email list. I'm assembling an email list. I will not spam you, but this is to keep you updated on my comic book launch and any details. I will use 3 places. I believe in redundancy. I want to reach as many people as possible. This is Heroic Tales. This is anybody who signs up. I will not spam you. I'll also use Twitter, and I'll also use my YouTube channel. Hey, Brittany's here. How you doing, Brittany? Good to see you. Thank you for popping in. Brittany is Ron. I'm going to say his name wrong. I'm sorry. Romo Art. Romo Art's wife. And can't wait for the cookies. Hey, Stippling is here. I was showing my wife your video yesterday of you drawing that wolf with the stippling. Oh my God, that was so cool. Sadly, alcohol is a common theme with the comic book artists. Yeah. Hard to tell, mostly backgrounds. Well, then he didn't get much work in yet. So look at this fight. So choreographed. He's jumping on this. Just Romo Art is good. I know. I'm sorry. I'm with my last name. I sympathize with people not being able to say last names. So look at this. Daredevil is just jumping on this guy. He's ducking out of the way. So we're establishing he's not a powerhouse. He's an agility guy. He's a smart fighter. Mosicki. Oh, okay. I definitely was going to pronounce it wrong. Mosicki. Okay. Thank you for doing that. Ron Mosicki. Let me get back into my frame. Again, no backgrounds. And this is making a lot of sense now now that Marcus filled me in on details that I did not know. That's why I like people in the chat. So we're establishing now that Daredevil, he's kind of dressed up like a circus performer and jumping around like an agile, speed-based, smart fighter, as opposed to somebody like the Hulk, who's just a clobber guy, or the Thing, or even Thor. Thor is more of a basher. He's got that that raw power behind him. Matt Murdock over here, he's a kid. He's like a teenager at this point. What's he, like 18, 19 years old? And never been in a fight in his life. So he's doing smartness over here. He's just taking everybody out with grace, skill, I was going to give away one of my characters, but I don't want to. So, a villain for an upcoming story. So these guys are all taken out, and now just call me Daredevil. And what do we have over here? This indicates a break in time. So now we got young Daredevil, and this is one of the few instances where a kid actually looks like a well-proportioned kid. A lot of the artists, they when they draw children, it just doesn't look right. As much as I love George Perez, one of his weaknesses was drawing little kids. They look like miniature adults. And look at his father over here, just like the broad shoulders, the musculature. It's so cool. And what do we see here? Sporting equipment. What do we not see? We do not see a woman. There's no mother, so mom is already gone at this point. And I have to say, Frank Miller did a wonderful story of what happened to Daredevil's mother, you know, and I think Frank Miller and then Kevin Smith were the ones who played up the devil, like the Christianity part of him, the Roman Catholicism part of him, and then that kind of focused Daredevil for a long time. And within within the past couple of years, they went back to the dare, like the fun part. Daredevil was a wisecracking, fun Spider-Man type of villain. And then later on, he became like a morose, super serious, religious kind of comic, which I like both of them, but I like it when they like a sine wave, go back and forth. Give me both. Give me both. So here he's talking about his father. So now we're back to battling. What's his name? Battling Murdoch. Yeah, battling Murdoch. He's a prize fighter. He's got a one-way ticket to Palookaville kind of thing. If you get that reference, he's a fighter. He never quite made it. They're struggling. And he doesn't want that for his kid. And look at the boy. He wants to go out play baseball. He wants to be a sporto kind of guy. Look at these covers. Tales to Astonish. I have this, but I'm not too sure if I have this. I have a lot. I pretty much have a full set of Strange Tales from 100 up. Tales to Astonish. I have a lot of holes. And when I was plugging the holes and that kind of stuff, I switched careers, became an apprentice electrician, and I stopped buying them, and I never got back to them. I gotta look into what I'm actually what I'm actually missing, and in order to do that, I need to finish cataloging my collection. So now we have Matt. What is he doing? He's over here watching the sport kids play. He vowed to his father that he was going to study. So he wants to be, he wants his son to be a lawyer or a doctor or, like something with the stability, something that he could pay the bills, something, he could raise a family with, not a prize fighter. It's actually touching and sad and realistic. I don't know about you kids today, you young whippersnappers, but this was something that my generation, I'm 55, and my father's generation, it was legitimate. It was real stuff. These were fathers that they wanted their kids to do better than them. They wanted their kids to rise up. Like if Battle of Jack Murdoch was this Irish prize fighter, he didn't want that life for his kid. He wanted his kid to be a respected member of community. So. And he just told the kid, don't go play sports. He overdid it. But then again, that's the nature of dramatic storytelling. And he's just envious. I made a promise to my father. All the kids are out. Just look at him. He's just sitting at the window. These kids are Indian wrestling. If only I could go down and join them. And what do the kids do? They start teasing him. That's what kids do. And I love this. This is supposed to be a teenager. He looks like a 40-year-old dock worker. And the lack of backgrounds now is really really telling now that Marcus told me that story. Well, if it ain't old Daredevil himself, hey Daredevil, they're making fun of him. Don't trip, don't cut yourself, don't get a paper cut on your book. They're laughing at me. They think I'm a sissy. And then like someday I'll show them, I'll make them eat those words. And then he punches, and in his rage he snaps the this, what's that called, a speed bag. So his father's battling Jack Murdoch. He's got some good strong genes. So he's just like, what do I, I'm a numbskull. I can keep in shape. So here we got this, an 80s montage, so this is just him in these tiny little old fashioned skivvies, just training. So he's going to the gym every day and training. And then he comes home and he's studying. So his father, what would they call this? A latchkey kid. He has a lot of time by himself. Mom's not around, and they never mention the mother. They never said that she's dead. They never mention her, which of course leaves her ripe for storytelling, which is what Frank Miller capitalized on. And I'm not going to give the spoiler what happened to the mother. That's like Aunt May. It's Peter Parker's parents. Why is he with Aunt May? For the longest time, they never really addressed it. You just filled in the blanks yourself. So here he is studying, and he's in a good mood now because he's getting his physicality done, and he's doing his mental gymnastics. Look at the father over here. He's proud of his son. And the father is just like, I haven't had a fight in weeks. I'm running out of money. The dad kind of looks like Kirby. Yeah. You're right about that. I never thought about that. Kind of, you know, it's just that old fashioned face. You guys ever know what I'm talking about when you see faces, when you look at old photographs, you don't see him. You don't see those style of faces. Like there's definitely a style of faces that you don't see anymore. When I see pictures of Jack Kirby, I'm like, that is like a 40s, 50s face. You know, you don't see that kind of face anymore. And here he is, you know, he needs to get another job. He needs to get another boxing match, and he's getting old. You know, he's not winning too much. He's not in demand as much. So what does he do? He goes to the Fixer, and you know, just the name, the way he's drawn, you know, he's a crooked guy. He works for the mob. He sets up fights, fixes them, and you know, they say that the boxing, the sweet science. I always thought that was funny that they call boxing the sweet science. That the sweet science boxing is the easiest to fix. Why? Because it's two people. All you have to do is get to one of them, and you could fix the fight. Okay, I will go back to the comments now. I'll be doing another video working on the Husky. Okay, cool. Stippling Vaughn. He was on my channel. Stippling is an art technique where you just draw by dots. I would pull my own hair out and slice my face up with a razor blade before I finished a picture. Stippling. This guy's amazingly talented. He's a fun guy. I enjoyed talking to him. And you know, I could picture Stippling hanging out at the bar with battling Jack Murdoch, enjoying a beer, Stippling. You know, it's just, you know, I don't know. I just picture it. Just seems like a relaxing way to spend the day if you're talented like him. But Marcus, could you put Stippling's YouTube channel in the comments for everybody? Check him out. He's working on a graphic novel that I can't wait. I can't wait. Stippling, let me know when you're ready to release that. I want to check that out. People are complicated. Characters are simpler, but it's okay to have traits that are juxtapositions like serious or religious. Yes, absolutely, Zach 10. Excellent. Having a character who's just one thing is boring. You know, having a character. Why can't I think the bad guy in Avatar, the general? What was his name? What a boring character. There was no shading to him. There was no dimensionality to him. There was nothing to him. He was bad guy. Rey in Star Wars. She was boring. She had no subtleties to her. Her trait was she's the best at everything. She's the best at everything. It's boring. They're not allowed to Indian wrestle. The dad kind of looks like Kirby. Yes. His mother abandoned him before he was born. Yes, she. I just realized what you said, and you got me. You tricked me. That's kind of funny. Yes, she left before he was born. Funny. That's a funny comment. Sonny Liston was in bed with the mob. Well documented back then. Yep. Oh, I will. That's getting in touch with you when your comics are ready. I hope so. I hope that. Zhao, I think, was the Firebender general. Oh, okay. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, this is from Avatar: The Last Bender, a cartoon that I highly recommend. I fell in love with this cartoon, and I'm not looking forward to the Netflix adaptation TV show. I heard the movie was trash. I didn't see it. They're making a Netflix, and all the things that I'm hearing about it do not bode well. But then again, I've closed my heart to new things, because they're just going to hurt me. So once I see that something new comes out and other people, like I'm going to go see Godzilla -1 because I've been hearing nothing but good stuff about it. Here's Stippling's YouTube channel. Thank you, Vaughn. And go check out Stippling. Check out this guy's art. It's phenomenal. All right. So back to the page. So again, look at the backgrounds. The information that Marcus provided really makes sense now. So look at that face. Visual shorthand, mob. You know what I mean? It's just mob guy. You know, that guy's name should just be mob guy number 7. And it absolutely works. What is he doing? He's telling him, he's giving him a contract. You're going to do this. You're going to get paid, but you're taking a fall. You know, you're taking a fall. And if you play along, we could use you again. So basically, what do they call that? A jobber? You're going to be the jobber. You're going to be the guy with like a mid reputation that'll take the falls and will do fights and will bet against you and will make money and will give you more money than you normally would. He signs his luckiest day of my life. You know, Matt, I got to tell you, I got work again. I got work. I'm really sympathetic to that because, you know, dad struggling to pay the bills. You know, it's just, you know, again, the way fathers are treated these days in media, you know, they just don't get the respect. And that's one of the reasons why I made up the patriarch, because he's a father, a superhero, husband, you know, and beloved, love, and is a good guy, and he struggles. You know, I just very sympathetic to that. So what is Matt? Matt is walking down the street, and I love this cameo in the movie. They had Stan Lee playing this in the movie. And what is Matt sees that the father, this grandfather guy is walking into the street, you know, hot chick over here, guy bewildered spectator. Matt is like, oh no, we got the Ajax Atomic Labs radioactive materials. This must be before government regulations. And I just love how it's tilted. There's no background. Stan Lee over here is walking in front of the truck. And what does Matt do? Matt is a hero. Before even, he has no powers. He has no costume. He's, what is he, like a 16-year-old kid? He just leaps into action. Boom. He knocks the old Stan Lee out of the way. And that he saved that man's life. Most heroic act I've ever seen. Blah, blah, blah. Get an ambulance because he was struck by a car. Now, notice this. They do not show the impact. They do not show like the horror of getting hit by a car, but this storytelling is excellent. You could see what happened. Kids in the hospital. What happened was a radioactive thing. This stupid truck, the door opened and radioactive material hit him in the eyes. And days later, now the father's like, I'm going to go to do my boxing gig, and little kids over here with the glasses, you know, and I did like in the Ben Affleck movie, they put scars around his eyes. That was a nice touch. And, you know, the poor kid is blind. So now he has a secret. And I turn the page and let's listen to, let's check out the comments. Crenshaw, FAO. Good morning. Sipping coffee and cleaning the kitchen while I watch and listen. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. I'll have a sip of coffee with you in solidarity. So here he is at the gym and he's explaining. I just love how he's talking out loud over here. He's thinking over here. He's talking over there. Now, again, I know Allison, who's watching, is new to comics, and this is something you don't see that much anymore. This is called a word balloon. This arrow is called a pointer. You know, that's something that we always knew, even though we didn't know the names for them. Now, notice how this balloon is different. It's cloudy. This is called a thought balloon. And then you have the bubbles. This means it's in the character's head. This was excellent because, you know, it was, so this is a caption. This yellow over here, I used to call these yellow boxes. So this is a caption, meaning it's like the omnipresent, all-powerful narrator telling the story. This is a word balloon, meaning a character is speaking. This is a thought bubble or a thought balloon, meaning the character is thinking. They kind of did away with the thought balloons. And I was struggling with the idea of including thought balloons in my comic. And so far in issue, excuse me, so far in issue 1 of Heroic Tales, there are no thought balloons. But that's not an ironclad decision. Like I'm using captions. I don't know. I probably will include thought balloons, but they kind of did away with these. These fell out of fashion. But I just wanted to explain that, a little bit of a meta context for comics. So now he's in college. He wins a scholarship. He goes to college. Everything's doing well. He meets Foggy Nelson. So this is Foggy's first appearance. Foggy Nelson, I love Foggy Nelson. He is like the everyman. He's smart. He's hardworking. He's a good guy. But nothing comes easy. This guy has to struggle. He works. He's fat. You know, he gets distracted easy. He's emotional. You know, he wears his heart on his sleeve. But just a great character. He's a great contrast to Matt, who, except for the blindness, everything kind of comes easy for him. He's just super intelligent. You know, and now with the super senses, everything just comes easy to. And ladies, nobody is a player like Daredevil. I mean, players, I guess, is a mean word. Like that means he's using, but women just throw themselves. He is like the ladies' man of comic books. Just him and Arsenal, who used to be Speedy over at DC. No, I guess it's the red hair. Women love a redheaded man, and so now he's explaining that his senses are super sharp. And I always remember this. My hearing, I'm going to read over here. I'm going to read these panels just because I dig them. My hearing is so acute that I could tell if someone in the room with me just by hearing the heartbeat. And when I'll never forget an odor once I smell it, I could recognize any girl by her perfume or a man by his hair tonic. Even my fingers have become incredibly sensitive. I could tell how many bullets are in a gun just by the weight of the barrel. And my sense of taste has become so highly developed that I can actually tell how many grains of salt are on a piece of pretzel. That is just amazing. So he lost his eyesight, but his other four senses are heightened. They're incredible. And it's funny because Stan Lee said he was very nervous when he came up with Daredevil. He thought people would get insulted that he made a blind superhero. I don't know if Stan Lee forgot or didn't know or whatever, but there was a blind superhero before that, Dr. Midnight over at DC Comics. So, I don't think, but he said that he got a lot of letters from blind people. I don't know how blind people were reading the comics, but I'll believe Stan Lee that they appreciated it, that there was a handicapped superhero. And then we have boys, men, Mike Marvel over here. He just wants, he just wants to come to your house and watch you work out. He'll just, put you wear Speedos together and he'll just stare at you while you work out. So I turn the page. Let's check out the comments. Where are we? I have to scroll up a bit. Oh, okay. Odin Desco. How you doing, Odin? Good to see you. Good morning, John. Thank you. Thank you for checking it out. That's I appreciate everybody watching. Hit like. Remember, you can super chat. Like, subscribe, tell your friends, buy a glass, buy my comic, super chat. I'll turn it to the salesman. That was an amazing act of virtue that would probably be unappreciated by the cynical modern world. Oh, you mean saving the old man? Yeah. Funny story. Allison was in my class. She'll remember we had a substitute teacher, and she was telling a story where a guy on a motorcycle got hit by a car, and she did CPR, and she ripped his I don't know how she did it, but she claims that she ripped off his leather jacket, gave him CPR, and then was sued for the price of the leather jacket. She saved the guy's life, and he sued her. I don't know how, as an adult, looking at how the hell did she rip off his leather jacket? But what do I know? All right. Good morning from flooding, California. Oh my, you're flooding? Where in California are you, and how bad is it? My heart, I'm in the basement down here. Luckily, I'm in the highest point in Long Island. It never floods here, but never say never. I live in fear of floods. I have dehumidifiers, I have moisture sensors and everything like that. But you can never. God laughs at man's plans, right? What else? Getting rid of the thought balloons is really Frank Miller's fault. You probably, I didn't think of that. You're probably right. The Dare and the Devil juxtaposition is really what made Matt Murdock one of the most nuanced characters. Yeah, I got to agree. The Dare is the fun, quippy, flip it around, making jokes, and the Devil is this like Catholic Irish guilt. I really do love the Daredevil character, and like I said, it is he is like a noir character. Yeah, I could definitely hear the definitely. I could hear the saxophones playing in the background. Slow, bluesy, jazzy saxophones. It depends on what point of view you want your reader to be. I don't remember the technical term, but this omniscient character, yes, he's talking about the different types of word balloons. Where are we here? Handicap heroes could be good, but if they aren't believable, like Xavier. Xavier came out before this. He was handicapped, and nobody batted an eye. It was, it was a good character choice for that character. He's telepathic, but he can't move. He's immobile. Later on he got robot legs or drone powered things, which to me, he was supposed to be a distant guidance, almost like a Jiminy Cricket, like a conscience. To have Xavier there in the fight, to me, removes the purpose of the character, if that makes sense. San Francisco, and it's not bad yet. Big Sur is the first ever hurricane wind warning with, well, you know, if the government raises taxes, that will fix the weather. So let's raise the taxes and fix the weather. The heroic tales be, oh, thank you, Marcus. Thank you. Thank you. Some alternate tales brought back thought balloons. Yes. Yes. Yeah. I have a, again, I have an affection for all of the old comic book things that were done in the olden days. You know what I mean? I don't want to say struggled because that makes it sound more, but I you know, was thinking about putting thought balloons into my comic. I know that I definitely will be including them in issue 2, but issue 1 there's no thought balloons, and that's you know that was just a choice, a stylistic choice. I want to make issue as welcoming and as friendly and easy for new people to get invested into my comic. You know, issue 2 is really where we hit the ground running as far as the big world story. Issue 1 is an introduction. You know, that doesn't mean it's, you know, I put a lot of thought into it. I put a lot of work into it, but it's, you know, it's introducing you to my world. Xavier was similar to Captain Picard. Yes, Captain Picard hardly beamed down. It was always Riker. You know, Riker would be the Cyclops character. I do like that the distant leader, father figure stepping back and letting the children do the work. That's what that to me was the best Xavier. Although I'm not a fan of Xavier. I think I talked about that a lot. That Xavier to me was one of the creepiest characters. A great character doesn't mean I have to like him. There's a lot of characters that I don't like that are great characters. So now he's explaining he has this radar sense. So it ping, 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 like, you know, this whatever things are, he gets close to thing, he hears like a pinging in his brain. Of course, later on they did that wonderful drawing of the circles that you know that they made use of so well later on. But this is the early thing. Remember, this like the characters kind of develop over time. You know, Spider-Man developed over time. The Fantastic Four were the best examples of develop. Thor is almost like a completely different character than he was in his first couple of issues. You know, they hit the ground and then evolves. I just love that. I just love that. So now they're pushing the fight. He's raking in the money, and you know, so this is all remember, we're still in a huge flashback. So now he's talking to he's in college, he's talking to Foggy, and this to me is a little like the timing is a little off. And maybe it's just because I haven't read it in so long or whatever, but you get the feeling that Battle and Matt, is he working for the Fixer for a while? Or is this the one fight? Because a lot happened since he signed that contract. The timing is a little bit off. Maybe that's just on me. So now it's the actual fight. Now, keep in mind, this is supposed to be a fixed fight. The mob is betting against battling Jack Murdock. You know, he's supposed to take a fall in the second, right? So he's going to take his fall. So now he's throwing punches. And the other boxer knows it. Murdock, you fool, take it easy. What are you doing? You know, oh no, this isn't the boxer. This is the Fixer. If you're trying to double cross me, so he's like, look, he's winning. Your dad's pulverizing him. And battling Matt Murdock, he sees that his son is in the crowd. He's like, I'm not gonna lay down and take a dive in front of my kid. And he just beats this. Now, is this poor guy in on it? We don't know. But you know what? You're in a boxing match. It's just you know. You know what I mean? F around and find out. You don't get into a boxing ring and then get surprised that some guy beats the crap out of you. So battling Matt, he's the winner. And the father's like, hey, you know, you won. I can't believe that's so good. And the kid goes off and he's like, nobody double crosses the Fixer. You know what to do, Slade. You got it, boss. Look at the hats. And I will check I'll turn the page and then check the comments. That last panel left word balloon pointing to the head, thought balloon bubbling to the mouth. Oh, is that last panel left page? Oh yeah, the thought balloon. Yeah, I see what you mean right here. Yeah, his mouth is thinking. Yeah, It's that is just a perfect example of when you're drawing, you have to keep what the dialogue in mind, and also keep in mind this was Marvel method, meaning Stan Lee gave Bill Everett the idea of the story. Bill Everett went and drew it. And then months later, Stan Lee gets it and then writes the dialogue. So he probably gave him an index card or verbal or one page typed of the whole story. So the dialogue wasn't written. So things like that happen a lot in Marvel. And what I like about it is it forces the artist to be good with storytelling. You can't do this type of Marvel method with artists that aren't good with storytelling, meaning letting the art tell the story, because the art is supposed to be reminding Stan of what is actually happening. Just excellent point, Mudslinger. He went from blind to mute in that moment. Yeah. Do you mean Namor? Yeah, yeah. Don't get me started on Namor. So now we got battling Jack Murdoch. He's got the prize money, and you notice that they're being coy. They're not showing the violence. We know what that means. We see the foot laying down. We know what happened. They're not showing the violence. They're not showing the blood, the gore, the murder, and then poor Matt over here. And finally, time passes. The timing, like I said, the timing is a little off. And now we got Foggy Nelson and Murdoch, attorney at law. So this is years later. This is a year later. So what was he? 19 years old in college. Now he's what, 25 years old, and he meets Karen Page. This is the first appearance of Karen Page and the gigantic hair. You know, her voice is like music from The Sound. She's 5'4" and young, and I know she's lovely. Like, and there's just too much noise. I'll never concentrate. He's about his father. He fulfilled his promise to his father. He's a lawyer. Now, as far as Daredevil's concerned, the oath has been fulfilled. We're at the middle. Look at this. This is the middle. This is the staple. Look at how much story happened. Oh my God. This is enough for a movie right here. Now we got the conflict, and we got the hypno coin. Hypnotize chicks. What else are you going to do? You're going to hypnotize. Let's be realistic. You get the hypno coin. You're a boy reading the Daredevil comic. You're going to hypnotize chicks. Allison, Lacey Lee, sorry, but that's what we're going to do. We're going to hypnotize you. Hypnotize. So now I can't break a promise yet with my extra shot. I got all these abilities. What am I going to do? He takes out this old costume and fixes it up a little bit, and he makes a costume. But now he's like, the kids used to call me Daredevil. I'll take the name Daredevil. He modifies it. He puts the D, he puts the horns, and now he's like, I need a weapon. And he takes his cane, and I love this. Peter Parker gets bitten by a spider. Next thing he invents web slingers. Here we got Matt Murdock, a great lawyer. He's smart, and then he makes this hinged weapon out of his walking stick. I love like this little burst of inspiration, and it's just such a comic book trope. I actually love it. I think it's charming, even though it's like unrealistic. It's just so much fun, to the point in my role playing V&V games, they have this taken into consideration. They call it inventing points. Each superhero has a certain amount of inventing points based on their intelligence to just take care of nonsense like this, because it is such a part of superhero comics. So now I love this timing and everything. Yeah, quite an accomplishment for a blind guy. You're absolutely right. Yeah, absolutely right. What is this comment? Not all of us are blind, attorney, badass, super. The rest just need. Yeah, yes. To the point, doesn't DC have a superhero who basically has a hypno coin? Dr. Occult. He has this big disc coin, and that's his powers. He just hypnotizes people. At least Peter Parker was a science student. Yes. And as I say, if you're a scientist in comic books, you're every type of scientist. If you're a doctor in science, if you're a doctor in comics, you're every type of doctor. And as Matt Murdock shows, if you're a lawyer in comics, you're every type of lawyer. Is he corporate law? Is he criminal law? Is he environmental law? Is he, it doesn't matter. Yes, he is. He's a lawyer. Therefore, he's every type of lawyer. Like, Reed Richards, I will buy because Reed Richards' brain has been cosmically enhanced. But like, you know, I just think it's funny that Henry Pym is supposed to be a what was it called? An entomologist. He studies insects, and next thing you know, he's building robots and, you know, cosmic nonsense and everything like that. But that's comic book science for you. So here he is walking through the streets, and what is he doing? He's looking for the fixer as much as a blind person could do, and he finds out where he is. And then we got the little wavy line over here, end of flashback, end of flashback. So now he's, you know, now take me to the fixer. So what is he doing? He's doing the comic book trope. Find out one guy, beat on him until he gives up the information. Move up that tree. I love that. The Punisher does it. And I also love the fact that you can see his ear in the mask. I love that. You know, it's not a helmet. It's just a cloth mask. I do not like when Daredevil, Spider-Man, or Batman wear armor. These are supposed to be stealth brain heroes. You know, these are guys who think, they're smart, they stay out of the way. Batman, Spider-Man, and Daredevil should not be standing still, getting shot in the chest as bullets reflect off their armor. That means they're Iron Man. That works for Iron Man. Daredevil, Spider-Man, and Batman are not in front of the gun. The guys are waving the gun around, and Batman's behind him, choking him out. That's how Batman's supposed to work. And look at the fixer. When you got a mug like that, that face is a mug. You know, that's not a face. That's not a visage. You know, that's not a what other words for face can I think of? But that is only a mug. And what do you do with the mug? You paste a mug. You know, and I love this. You're going down. You're going down. And Lacy Lee, as my dear Irish granny used to say, ask, gas, or grass. Nobody rides for free. Hypnotize on. Oh. Lacy, Lacy, you're a freak, Lacy. She don't mind being hypnotized. You actually got me speechless for a second. Let me comport myself with some coffee. You're making me laugh. You actually made me blush. Hey, Brax, you got yourself a fun girl over there. Hit the like button and subscribe. All right, so look at that mug. You just want to punch him. He's got the cigar. He's got the tilted fedora, you know. And what does Daredevil do? He is reacting to the gun being pulled out of the sleeve. He could hear it. He throws the stick in the guy's face, catches the stick, and I love the overextension. You know, this isn't the you know, Frank Miller's Daredevil, who's a super expert. This is first level rookie superhero going out, you know, practicing. This is his first venture. I love that. He takes the club, he puts the gun out of the guy in a purple suit. Purple suits, such a staple of old comics because the color palette. He uses the hook to trip him. Notice he's just not doing the haymakers. He's not pasting everybody in the face. You know, I love this too. He kicks the door out and he's, you know, calling for backup. He smashes the phone out. And I love this. I forget if he does, but one of Daredevil's signature moves is, since he's blind, he doesn't need the lights. That's one of the things he does is, you know, with his super sensitive skin, he could feel even the heat from the light bulb. Is he smashes all the lights and blinds everybody and takes them out. Look at this guy's unfortunate face over here. And what's he doing? He's listening to it. He goes, "Did you give the order? Did you kill Battle and Jack Murdoch?" You know, and he get out of here. So, rookie mistake. He gets Daredevil now gets emotional. He's going after the guy that killed his father. He trips up, and this guy pushes him out the window. And then I love this flagpole. He catches the flagpole. Now I don't know about you, but unless this glove is super, what's the word, like non-slip, he would just pull right out of his hand. He swings back up and goes in. You know, that's something only Daredevil could do with his heightened reflexes and his you know, senses. Foggy's, where's Matt? Where's Matt? And this becomes the beginning of not a lifelong, but a long-standing. Foggy worries about Matt. He doesn't know that he has the powers. He's always worrying about him. He's the best friend, but he's like, oh, if anything happens to Matt, you know, he's walking around the city, he could get killed. And then we play the accordion. So just so you know, I don't know what you were thinking, Lacy, but when I hypnotize you, you're going to entertain me by playing the the accordion. That's it. I don't know what things were in your brain, but you will be playing. I will hypnotize you, and you will be playing songs on the accordion for me. Okay. Now we got this. This is one of my favorite covers of all time. I love this cover. I did a video on this. This is the Fantastic Four meeting the Avengers, fighting the Hulk. Oh my God, that is just comic books. That is comic books. This is one of the Spider-Mans I don't have. My Spider-Man collection, I think, starts with issue 20. I think I have a couple of issues lower than 20, and then 20 up for the most part. A few issues that I'm missing. I just love these comics. I just love these comics. All right. She didn't say it would work, you cheeky monkey. Yeah, try and hypnotize me. Try and hypnotize me. I dare you. Has anybody seen a real hypnotist in real life? Not a TV hypnotist. You know, I'm just curious. Do people just play along with it? Like, it can't work. Hypnotism just has to be one of those things that just really doesn't work. I just don't get it. People have to be playing along. I don't get it. But anyway, we got a Foggy wondering where Matt is. Karen is wondering about Matt. They both. It's just the thing that they're the mother hens. They're wondering about this poor defenseless blind guy walking around through the streets of Manhattan, and she's in on. And it's like I understand, what a pity. Such a wonderful, handsome man. He's so handicapped. And he's like, I wish he was talking about me. And that starts the love triangle. Matt loves Karen, but I'm a superhero. I got responsibility, and I'm her boss, and blah blah blah. And then she loves Matt, but he's blind, and I can't release my. And then Foggy loves Karen. You can't tell in these drawings, but Karen is like one of the hottest women on the planet. And I do love the woman who played her, whose name I can't think of. She does such a great job. And the guy who played Foggy is perfect. Then we cut back to, notice nobody's dead, nobody's unconscious. He's just roughing them up, beating them up, but he doesn't have that like super powerhouse of just one punching everybody. He's taking them all out. So what's he do? He's threatening them. They're regrouping. They pull the rug out for him, and he hurts himself. He gets hurt. So he's taken off. Rookie, he's a rookie superhero. He'll never find us in the crowd. Matt's like, what do I do? They're in the crowd. So now he's following them because he's got this particular cigarette, and he's following the scent of the cigarette. I love it. And look at this. Can you see this woman? It looks like she was redrawn. Bill Everett probably made her with big old sweet bazongas, and then somebody changed that. You could see the lines are abruptly. It must have been erased. I'm real curious to see what the original artwork looked like for that. Okay. Just get nervous when I turn the page. All right, let's look at the comments. Except that all the superheroes, DD was the sloppiest with the secret identity. Foggy should discover it after a while. Yes. I will address that. Marcus, remind me to talk about the secret identity when I'm done with the comic. This something that really, really bothered me about Daredevil, that it took me a long time to rectify it. It's one of those things that they kind of just forget about because it was just so bad. Did that cover influence original trilogy Spider-Man 2, or how Doc Ock caused Spider-Man's face to be? The Spider-Man cover? Yeah, that was just a shock. Let's, Dr. Octopus pulling off the face mask. I don't remember exactly what happened inside that issue. I'm sure I read it in a collection, but I don't remember. Since I don't have it, I didn't read it and reread it and reread it. So I don't know. Maybe Mark knows how my statement stands. Yeah, these days they could be a throuple. Yes. My statement stands at the fair. Okay. So now Matt is stalking them. They don't know that this blind guy is Daredevil. They're going down into the subway. He strips down, going somewhere. It ain't possible. You cannot get more New York than this. A good old fisticuffs battle in the subway. I love this panel. Daredevil is throwing the stick, trips this guy, and throws. He doesn't throw it. He rolls it. He's using his hand senses. And what happens? The Fixer has a heart attack and dies. Why? Because Daredevil gets his revenge, but it keeps his hands clean. He didn't kill him. That smoking the cigarettes killed him. And then he jumps on the subway and does that thing you're not allowed to do, rides on the outside of the subway and rides off. And then jumps on this guy, the last guy. He goes, the Fixer told us everything, Slade. He's innocent. You are Daredevil's murderer. No, so he's bluffing them. And he bluffs and he confesses to the police. Daredevil gets his revenge and his hands are clean, metaphorically speaking. And then he comes back. Where were you? We were worried about you, because I was just going for a walk. You know how it is. He's not sweaty. He's not bloodied. You know what I mean? But that is also another thing, is he does show up a lot bruised, and he's just like, I'm blind. I tripped. I fell, and that just makes him worry. It just works. We just had a call from an accused more. He wants to know if he'll defend him, because I turned it down. He was guilty. Do you mind? No, I don't mind at all. And that becomes like part of Daredevil. He is the personification of blind justice. Like right now, they're turning down clients because they know they're guilty. Later on, Daredevil will literally take out the mugger and then be the guy who defends him in court, because he's just like, I'm going to give this guy a good defense because I'm blind justice. I can't take sides, and I don't want this to be like a mistrial or this guy walks because of technicalities and stuff like that. So I do love that dichotomy. Beat him up at night, defend him during the day. And boys, men, I'll help you master Yubi Waza. That's it, Lacey. We'll hypnotize you, and then you'll become a master of Yubi Waza. Earn big money at home. And then we got this. And here's the back cover. Looking for people who like to draw. And I'll put this over here, and I'll check out the comments. What do we got here? A young guy and a girl is behind the stage. Girl is asleep on his shoulder. She woke up to, so you saw a hypnotist at the fair. Okay, I didn't understand your comment. A young guy and a girl is behind the stage. Girl is asleep on his shoulder. She woke up to a guy, head down, eyes closed, half arm, falling. Yeah, she freaked out. Now, were they plants? Like I would like to be hypnotized just to see what it is, and then they all use the excuse, some people can't be hypnotized. Like, it can't possibly be real. That's got to be like one of those, not urban legends, but just like one of those things that people want to believe, So anyway, I wanted to talk about a little bit about Daredevil's secret identity. So Matt Murdock, he played the blind, helpless, brilliant lawyer. And then at night he was Daredevil, running around, having fun, hijinks, beating people up, living the life, But Stan Lee got tired, and I think it was Gene Colan did the artwork at this point. He got tired of like the duality of the moroseness of Matt. And then so he made up Mark Murdock? So he was Matt Murdock, and he made up his imaginary twin brother. And the twin brother was happy-go-lucky. He could see. He was fun. He was hitting on chicks. He was like aggressively macho, and he was a cool guy. And Matt pretended to be his brother, Mark. Right? It was Mark Murdock. I'm sure Marcus will let me know if I got the name wrong. And so whenever Matt wasn't around, Mark would show up, and he was hitting on Karen, and he was, going out drinks with the boys, because Stan was tired of the mopey Matt. And then next thing you know, there's supposed to be this imaginary twin brother. Karen's fallen for him. He's dating Karen. He's the cool guy. Mike Murdock. Thank you, Mark. I knew you knew Mike Murdock. So Mike Murdock doesn't exist. He's just another identity created by Matt Murdock. And everybody likes Mike. He's cool. He's the beer drinking party guy, hitting on the chicks, going out with Karen and everything. And then the fan reaction was really bad. People like this, we like the original Matt Murdock. So rather than come out and be like, I'm Daredevil, I've said, they got to keep the secret identity trope going. So Matt says that Mike died. He kills off his imaginary brother, Oh, my brother Mike died. And they're like, oh my God. Karen's crying. Foggy's like, oh my God. They're having real feelings. They think a real person died. And that's it. Yeah. And then the status quo is reestablished. I never liked that. that really diminished the character in my eyes. That's like one of those things where you bend a character, but you don't break it. And to me, that put a serious crack that it took some spelling to fix that up. You know, like they really should have addressed, like, why did you do that? That was mean. You know what? That was just unacceptable. You crossed the line. You know, I just really thought that was a real bad character choice. Which goes to show I'm not above criticizing Stan Lee and Gene Colan and all these guys. You know, not everything they do is gold, but for the most part, most of what they do is gold, and it's still light years better than what's going on now. No one could see them but people in the corner of the stands, so who knows? Yeah, that she's talking about the people that were hypnotized. When your love interest falls for your imaginary friend, yes, yes, yes. He died, no wake or funeral. Yeah, that's one of the flaws. Yeah, he lived out of state. There was a funeral out of state, you know, kind of thing. You know, your girlfriend from Canada who didn't exist. You know what I mean? Oh, we broke up. You know, it was just it was a poorly executed story arc that was just, I thought it was just mean, and it was like not driven by the organic story needs of the characters. It was, to me, that was just like an editorial fiat, even though Stan Lee was the editor and the writer. You know, he just made a decision to mess with what I thought was the flow of the story. It didn't work. It didn't work. I did not like it. So there we go. That's Daredevil #1. I told you my story. Oh, there you go. I just got attacked by Dr. Octopus. I just defeated him. Yeah. So this is Daredevil #1. I lucked out buying this. It made it so that I could get Daredevil. So I got a continuous run of the original, 400 or so issues of Daredevil, you know, up until Kevin Smith, and then they restarted the numbering. So pretty much I got all the Daredevils from 1 to about from 1964 to about 2015. So next week on Sunday Comics, I will show Amazing Fantasy 15 if I have the reprint, because that is something that should be seen. And yes, it's out of chronological order because I forgot that I have. If I do not have the reprint, I will show. Oh, if I do not have the Amazing Fantasy 15, I will show Strange Tales #110, the first appearance of Doctor Strange. Yeah, so that's it. So either way, it's going to be Dick Go week next week on next Sunday Comics. Someone should have discovered Mike's identity and got reasonably mad, but understanding. Yes. My memory is a little hazy. I think they did eventually find out, and they were like a little more forgiving. But man, what a horrible trick! What a horrible trick! It really, really, really bothered me. So there you go, everybody. We've been talking for an hour and 15 minutes. As usual, I will shut this down when the comments stop. Anything anybody want to say? As usual, I will push my pint glass. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Hero Tales. That's going to be the logo for the comic. That this is the patriarch. What do they call that? Chest emblem, chest symbol, chest device. I always forget what exactly, but this is his symbol on his chest. And going forward, I will make pint glasses because that's one of my things. Is every superhero's got to have a cool symbol. You got to have a cool name. You got to have a cool symbol. And, so issue #2, I will have another, probably different colors, but I will have the symbol on the glass. I will also have a coin. I take super chats. You that means you can tip me like I'm a cam girl. I'll show some feet pics. Sign up for, that's my Substack. How do I get the Patriarch issue #1 autographed? Well, Tony lives near me. I could just, when you buy one, I'll see you and I'll sign it. I'm trying to work out the stretch goals for the campaign, and I'm working with Nick X, who's keeping me grounded. I have a tendency to promise the world. That's why I'm not saying when it's going to launch. I say sooner rather than later, because once you give a date, and if you don't hit that date, then people kind of like hold it against you. So I'm being purposely vague. I'm not being Eric July vague. I'm being vague, strategically. So one of the things I wanted to do was have copies of the comic that were autographed by myself and Renzo. like anybody who's a member of the channel, meaning, you know, they pay $5 a month, you're going to get an autographed copy. Now, I sent a package of comics to Renzo in Mexico because I wanted him to have these comics for reference. And I also wanted to see how feasible was it to actually send him stuff. It took 2 months. So if I send Renzo comics, it's going to take 2 months to get there, and it's going to take 2 months to back. So that's 4 months. So anybody who backs at like an autographed tier, I don't know if I'm going to include that because I could sign it. I could sign it, you know, me. But I don't think that's feasible for Renzo because the mail system, he even says that it's very unreliable. But one of the things I would love is if I hit a certain number, you know, if what I will fly Renzo to New York and me and him will just have an autograph party, go out to dinner, hang out, you know, it'll be great. You know, maybe we'll do some appearances at stores, or, you know, maybe I'll make it coincide with the convention, and me and him will do a convention. That would be so much fun. But, you know, if you live near me, Tony, you know, I'll sign you. I would love to. It would be like such a. Everybody says, "Oh, this is so humbling." That will be the opposite of humbling. It'll be unhumbling. It'll be egoizing. You know, it'll make my head swell. Lacey Lee is rooting for Doctor Strange. I definitely know I have Doctor Strange first appearance, Strange Tales 110. So next week, if I do have a good quality complete reprint of Amazing Spider-Man, Amazing Fantasy 15, I'm going to do that one because it came out chronologically first, and I think it's important. And then I will do. So Doctor Strange will be either next week or the week afterwards. Yeah, I you guys need to see these Doctor Strange comics. They are outstanding, and something tells me that most of you haven't seen the early Steve Ditko Doctor Strange. Yep, here's the PayPal. I don't know what's happening. All of a sudden, these started selling. Stretch goal, Patriarch official Hypno coin. Patriarch, that's one of the things about the Patriarch is he's a silver fox. He's got the gray hair. He's in good shape. You know, women like him. Like there's 2 stories about women liking him a little bit too much, and it showed. I made them because no, he's not a self-insert. But I wanted to show that his marriage is strong, you know, that he's loyal to his wife. Very out of character, but I'm sure good. That is kind of fun. Well, I do have a coin. I will show you a different coin that I made. Okay, can you see this? Can you see this? This is John Con. I'm sure Tony knows what John Con is, and Pete and Allison know what John Con is. But I made these coins. It's Nice to See You for a board game convention that I made for my birthday, and I made these coins. This was like the ticket when you paid, because it cost like almost $2,000 for the hotel and everything to do this. So everybody paid $20, and we got, you know, we had like an entire weekend of board gaming, and I wanted to put something in your hand. So when you paid the $20, I gave you a coin for 2 reasons. I felt good that you got that I was giving you something for your $20, and then the other thing was, if I wasn't sure if you paid or not, you showed me the coin. You know what I mean? So there you go. This particular convention got canceled due to COVID, and it never happened. So I got this bag of coins. So I'm using the same company to make the same type of coins for the Patriarch. So it'll say Heroic Tales on one side, and it'll have that symbol on the other. They said it will take 2 to 3 months, so I'm hoping to get them like in a couple of weeks, and they will be stretch goal. If we hit a certain amount, everybody gets a coin, and of course you could buy extra coins as add-ons. Doctor Strange is great. Yes, those Steve Ditko Doctor Stranges are great. And if read, you know, binge read, they tell a full story. And then when Steve Ditko was done with the story, he left. Oh, it's so good. Then Gene Colan came in. I read almost all Doctor Strange from the beginning till I have all the Doctor Strange from his first appearance. I'm going to say till about 2015. I love Doctor Strange. I love how you acknowledge the way people say this is humbling, like when they win the Oscar or something. It's a real pet peeve. Yes. First off, Swine Dog, good to see you. Love the name. Love the name. Thank you for commenting. It's not so much a pet peeve. Pet peeve is like, to me, means like, oh, this just gets under my skin and drives me crazy. So it doesn't really drive me crazy. I know why people do it. It's like a little bit of like self-effacement to keep you grounded and likable. But you know what? If you guys like my comment and you're raving about it, that's not going to humble me. You know what would humble me? If you told me the comic stunk and you're never buying it again. That would humble me. I'm like, oh man, I thought I was a good writer. I guess I'm not. But if you guys tell me that you like my comic, I'm going to be like, wow, thank you. You know, it will encourage me. It'll give me drive, you know, but I understand. It's one of those funny things that we just accept it, you know. Did Ditko draw the devil hand symbol with his main characters because he was into the occult? That, Ditko is not into the occult as far as I know. Ditko was into Ayn Rand and objectivism. And he hated the occult as far as I know. Like, I don't know if he was religious, but he did all of that stuff because this is just natural for the web shooters, the way they worked, you know. But I think it was just his style thing. This is the first time I'm ever hearing about that. But I from what I know, Steve Ditko did not like drugs. He did not like counterculture. Matter of fact, the occult was like a lot of his targets in some of his rants in his comic books. You actually threw me for a loop. This is the first time I'm hearing that. And off the top of my head, and Marcus is agreeing with me, probably not. We'll talk more about Steve Ditko when I do Spider-Man, but short story is he was very I think he did have mental issues, but he was very motivated by objectivism. And I will actually brush up more on objectivism when I talk about Spider-Man, because Spider-Man was Peter Parker supposed to be this superhero. And to me, that's one of the wedges between Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. So, you know, so short answer, I don't think so. I will do more research. That is very interesting, you know, but these days, I'm a conspiracy guy. I love a good conspiracy theory. They are so much fun. Do I believe them all? No. Do I also believe that there are no conspiracy theories? Like that comedian said, you can think that there's two people in a room with influence that aren't conspiring. No, there's conspiracies out there. But I also think we're falling into the trap. There's a couple of traps that we are falling into right now, and myself included. We see a woman character and we'll go, that's woke. You know, immediately knee-jerk reaction before we even read the comic, watch the movie, you know, read the book or whatever. So issue number 2 of Heroic Tales is a female lead. She's an Asian woman and her name is Mary Sue. Does that mean I'm going woke? No, it's a goof on the concept of a Mary Sue. And I don't know if you, so her name is Mary and the last name is Sue, S-U. She will be the least woke character ever created, to the point where progressives will probably hate Mary Sue. But I'm goofing on the idea of a Mary Sue. For those of you who don't know what a Mary Sue is the name given to a perfect character. Ray is the perfect example of a Mary Sue. She's perfect at everything. She could do everything. She has no character growth. She has no arc because she started out up on top. And the only way for a character on top to change is to go down. But Ray never goes down. Ray stays perfect throughout the trilogy. That's boring. Luke Skywalker started down here and he went up. That's exciting. Which is why I think that Lucas, if he had his way, this would have been the progression of Luke Skywalker. But anyway, long story short. So I think, you know, we see something, we condition to look for conspiracies. First off, it's human nature to create patterns. Pattern recognition is an intrinsic part of the human mind, figuring out. If we can't recognize patterns, we'd still be cavemen. So, and then when we see things, I think our caveman brains are making connections that aren't there. I don't think Steve Ditko was into the occult. If anything, I think Steve Ditko was against the occult. Whatever. What else can I say? So I think we shout out things, call them woke. because we're so conditioned that of woke culture, and then we shout out things, say conspiracies. Two generals say something, one guy winks, whatever. For you see that he's Illuminati. I don't know. Doesn't mean they're not, but I need proof. I'm a proof guy. I want to see proof of everything before I make conclusions. But I like to speculate, and it's fun, and especially in comic books, it's great for comic book stories. His YouTube channel has a lot of okay, cool. There you go. So I either way, next week is a Steve Ditko week, so I will do some research into Steve Ditko. Anything else? Anybody want to talk about? Anything? Bueller. So I will put Daredevil back into his protective force field. I'm just doing it very carefully. I'm sure everybody can understand why. You can see my filthy napkin with Taco Bell on it. This is like a real protective double bag. It's so good. Such a good comic. Amazing ton of interviews with old creators. Yeah, I discovered that Facebook is a good resource for a lot of old timers who they aren't on Twitter for whatever reason. They're like, it really is funny that Facebook is for the old timers. So and next week I have Mike Gustovich and Michael T. Gilbert. I can't wait. I'm so excited. His documentary is good. So there you go. I've been talking now for an hour and a half. I will shut this down. So next week is either Amazing Fantasy 15. Look, you can see my reflection over here. It's either way, it's Steve Ditko. I'm not sure which Steve Ditko I'm going to talk about. But thanks a lot, everybody. I will see you. I'll see you tomorrow with a regular showcase. I got to get back to doing regular showcases. I've been I've been working a lot, and I've been doing a lot of live conversations that I kind of neglected the 10-minute short showcases. Thanks a lot. Oh, wait, thank you, Abrax. What is this? I actually met a Korean named Sue Mi. My friends thought I was a jerk for laughing. Well, my character Mary Sue will be a Chinese American-born. The grandparents came from America to escape the Maoist cultural revolution because they were Roman Catholics, so they came to America. So that again, I don't want to give too much away. I didn't finish the patriarch yet. Let's focus and love the patriarch. Let's fall in love with the patriarch before I pull the carpet out from under your legs and make you fall in love with Mary Sue. Thanks a lot. And then issue 3 is a different character. But what am I doing? I'm setting up the characters so when they form the team, it means something. Okay. So that there is and I don't want to tell you the name of the first arc because that in itself will be a spoiler. So thanks a lot. I will see you guys with another video. For those of you who missed it, we will use this as the outro. So good. Bye-bye, everybody.